Yeah. So once again, shout out to DJ Shane, bringing that heat, taking us down memory lane, past, present, and future. And speaking of someone that pays homage to the past, making every moment count in the present, and building and creating a beautiful future for the hip-hop community, for the community, and just in life. My boy making the most of every day. ARTZ, what's up, man? Welcome to the show, Type 88.
Thank you for having me, my brother. I appreciate you, man. What's up, listeners? Everybody tuning in. It's the Reject Dreamer here live in the flesh with my man Dave Noodles. You know what it is?
Yeah, it's always great when dreamers unite. And so maybe could you break down what a Reject Dreams is?
Yeah, for sure. Being a reject dreamer or having a reject dream or reject dreams, plural, right? Is about, using the rejection that you faced within life, no matter what it is, and using that as fuel to overcome adversity, right? So letting that be the fuel in your engines in order for you to fly and soar to your highest heights. It could have been you getting cut from that first basketball team. It could have been somebody telling you wasn't good enough when you first started DJing or doing radio personality work. And the thing that fed your hunger, right? And sometimes, for me at least, originally it was that doubt or being slept on or being the underdog that kind of like fed my hunger and my dreams at first. We'll talk more about how sometimes that could be a gift and a curse later on in the interview. But that's kind of like where Reject Dreams derive from. I consider it a way of life, a community. I look at it as like a DNA strand that exists within like all dreamers, or what I like to call the X-Men, right? I feel like everybody has their own superpowers and super strengths, and that's what makes people reject dreamers. And you can have your own brand, your own company, but this is more like a cause,
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that. We've been all about dreams. We've been pushing Don't Stop Dreaming for quite a while, and telling as many people as we can to really just go out there. And even when you get that dream, make a new one, or add to it, or give yourself that purpose, something to wake up to, right. And just something that matters to you. And I know so many folks, their dream is to have a family. Their dream is to go to the beach on Sunday, whatever it is. I just encourage, like, go, just, find those things that matter to you and go for it. So, and I love the filter that you put over something, right? Like we put a filter over a photo to kind of give it a different feel.
Right.
But you're taking something that, someone could take as like, damn, this is the reason I'm going to stop this.
Right.
And you're like, nah, this is the reason I'm going to go even harder.
Facts, yeah. Nah, I think a lot of the times in life when we go through negative things, or even like with words, right? A reject could be a negative connotation or a stigma. And I think it's important for us as humans and people to find the positive even in the problems. Because as long as there's problems, there's solutions. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's always a silver lining in the trauma you face in life, that you can find your way growing and ascending and evolving over time, that makes you even more of a beast. Like if you have a smooth road your whole life and you ain't never like hit no bumps on the highway, like, do you really know how to drive?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So true.
That's what it's about for me,
It's so true. And so, bro, let's bring it back a little bit.
Right.
You've been, starting off. When did you even get into the game of music? What was your age?
I started writing when I was super young, around like 10 years old.
Okay.
But I was, it was just more like a hobby. And then around the age of like 15 to 17 years old, that's when I really started like going after printing CDs, performing at clubs at a young age. And then I had like a traumatic experience that I'm not sure if you researched or probably was gonna ask me about.
You were 17, right?
Yeah. I don't want to spoil it unless you're ready to go into it now.
Yeah. That's why I was trying to bring it back to like thinking where you were when life was happening, right? So
Right.
so you're kind of in your path of going for something you love, and you're kind of like getting your feet wet, and then all of a sudden, age
Yeah.
17, like maybe we could break
It down.
yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
that's
So
crazy.
it all started in my house, right? Like my mom was a young mother growing up. She lost her mother when she was super young. And I grew up in East New York, Brooklyn. My mom was like a B girl growing up, and she used to sing. She actually had a freestyle record with DMX back in the day. So any of the
That's cool.
DJs, if y'all can find that record, please, I need my hands on that, right?
Oh man.
But and shouts to Mama Arts. But my house was always like the place where house parties were happening and barbecues and things like that. And my mom was like the hostess with the mostest in the neighborhood. So through that, I discovered my love for hip hop and music at a very young age, right? People breakdancing in my crib, all types of airbrushing going on in the backyard, all types of vibes. But when I was 15, I was growing up in East New York, and I was going to school in Ridgewood, Queens. So I represent both Brooklyn and Queens, right? But my mom decided to move to Pennsylvania to try to give us a better life and try to, kind of like eat off the land, early on. But through that, I lived out there for about a year and a half, closing in on 2 years, and I got shot in the right side of my face by a straight bullet. Now, when this had happened, it was like wrong place, wrong time type of situation.
You were in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I was in Pennsylvania, which is so ironic because I lived in the worst neighborhood in Brooklyn. At that time.
Wow.
And I didn't get shot there, but it happened elsewhere, right? But I looked at it as God's plan in some way, and I made a very decisive. I made a decisive move. When I was in the hospital, maybe like the first or second night, they don't actually even let family like stay over in the hospital, so you got to be there by yourself. And I had a lot of time to think and to reflect, and I said to myself, like, am I making the most out of my dreams, right? And I was already in the studio recording music, but it was still like very hobbyish, right? I didn't think like, yo, I wanted to grow up and be an artist and make that as a career choice, right? Or that it was even possible to have as a career choice. Like, I knew it was possible to potentially make it, and I was aiming for that, but I wasn't like gun-ho focused on that just being the only thing. I was still like weighing options of other things, right?
Yeah.
So after that happened, a couple weeks after, I just left my mom's house, and I went to move back to New York, and I started pursuing music 100%. I dropped my first mixtape. I printed out probably over 1,000 copies of that joint. And I started hitting every radio station, every blog I could find, every person I could network with, every show I could do. And then from there, I never even looked back, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was kind of like the pivotal moment that jump started me being able to be like, all right, let's get it. Let's go all the way if we're going to do it. And that's where my name comes from too. Like, arts, because obviously I'm very creative and always with all the arts through the Reject Dreams community, but it stands for always reaching the zenith. So always maximizing your potential to the fullest, because you never know when life is gonna be cut short. Potentially, you're not promised tomorrow.
That's something else, man. Wow. What
you.
a journey.
Yeah.
What a freaking journey. And it just, it's something to even be reflective at that moment, because some people, like, you could get hit with something. You got hit with a bullet, and you could have kind of been like, woe is me. And you were like, no, why not me? Why not me? Why not I go for this? Why not I take this? And look at this. I'm still here.
Right.
I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
There's got to be a reason that didn't go 2-3 inches the other way, and
Yep.
put me out of this. Like, you're here for a reason, brother. So,
Thank you.
and here you are, taking advantage of every moment that you're here, and what a wake up call.
Yeah, dog. And I live with it every day, and it's still in my face. So they never removed it or anything. So it's like, it's a part of my being in every way, right? Like, I heal naturally. no surgery, no medicines, and the doctor literally said what you just said. He was like, "Yo, I don't know how you're not dead right now. Like this, I don't know how your nasal cavity is strong enough to withhold that.
Wow.
But you know, you're here, and it could have been, you know, it hit the window first, so that might have slowed up the speed of the bullet.
Yeah.
Thankfully. But yeah, it could have been a centimeter in a different direction, and it would have been over. So, yeah, no, I took that moment as a realization that, you know, at any time your car could get punched, and you might not even be looking for trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I took that as a sign. And like you said, I found a silver lining in that. Now, obviously, that came with, before I could even diagnose it, that came with a lot of PTSD and trauma that I didn't even know how to probably deal with at the age of 17. But, you know, you roll with the punches and you keep going. There's no manual to this thing we call life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish there was sometimes, but there's no blueprint. You just got to find your way and navigate the waters. It's like being a pirate, you know? Like, you know, when the pirates had to be like, jump on the boat and be like, yo, we need to go find like gold and food. But where we go, yo, we just got to keep going until we find something.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
That's real, man. Wow. So, you just been you haven't stopped since then.
Right.
So you dropped that first project a little bit right before that happened. And then that's like the wake up call, and you moved back to New York City after that happened, right?
Yep.
Got you. And then it was just like
Let's go.
turning back.
Yep.
I'm moving, and you never went back to PA. You just stayed in New York City.
Correct. I
Nice.
obviously go back to visit the fam and see Mom Dukes and all my siblings. It was definitely a big sacrifice because, you know,
You're
not
young.
being able to see and not be able to be around your siblings all the time, your mother all the time. You lose a lot of moments that maybe one day you're gonna wish you had back. But for me, it was just about like trying to lead by example and be somebody that they could look up to at the end of the day, not be stuck in the house or enabled by, you know, even my mother's love. Because at that time, you know, you got to understand the energy is like, yo, my baby almost died. No matter what happens, like, I got to protect. And for me, it's just like, I didn't want that crutch. I wanted to be, you know, I wanted to be free from that. And I still wanted to grow. And I knew like that, even though it was probably the toughest decision of my life, I knew I had to do that in order to like kind of like spread my wings, so to say. You know what I'm saying?
That's real, man. Now I think about, you got me thinking of moments where I took kind of trips. They were like literally trips, gone to different places, kind of unknown places. Like, oh, let me go here, let me do this tour, let me go on this, let me go 3,000 miles away. But those moments were just so vivid because they were just so outside of the norm. And they just stuck out because there's this comfort and there's resistance to that. Like, oh, well, I could just be here and I'm good. And like, I'm good here.
Right.
But you took this jump and now you're in this new ocean or wherever, even though you're back. You don't have that same support. You know, your mom's still 1,000 miles away, 400 miles, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But like as a growing adult, like young adult, to have them further away, I could see how that could be like, yo, time to man up, time to go out there. So that's amazing, brother. That's
Thank
amazing,
you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's like, you know, life turns boys to men real quick, you know, and that was one of the moments where I had to take that leap for myself. My spirit was kind of calling for it. And it's like you said, sometimes there's things that happen by like divine nature that that are so vivid. You know what I'm saying? And you know, that's what I love about life too, because God, I found a way to drop a couple breadcrumbs to let you know, like, yo, you did the right thing. You know, I think one of the first things I ever did was I auditioned for like a TV show when I first got back home, and I made it out of like 2,000 people. Right? It never came out or, you know, ended up being anything, but even just that was like that moment of like validation for me, where it was like I did also an open mic at Village Underground spot in West Fourth, I believe, and played with a live band for the first time, and everybody loved it. So I was like, yo, all right, it's happening. It's, you know, you know, those I think a lot of the times the signs are right in front of us. We just have to open our eyes wide enough to see them. You know what I'm saying? And kind of rid of all the distractions and the noise.
For sure, man. So, what a journey it's been. You're back in New York. You're chasing the goals. You're chasing the dreams. You're living. Your family's far away, and you say, "I'm gonna go for this. I'm gonna make it happen." So, then you just start hitting the music circuit. Start dropping the tapes, and you haven't looked back. It's just crazy because here we are, right around the corner from Roar, which I'm really excited about. Speaking of Roar, bro, you've been growling, you've been devouring, you've been, you know, the beats, you've been just going off, and just life just keeps getting more, throwing you kind of curveballs or knuckleballs or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you just keep finding a way. So maybe even let's talk about the current moment, because there's been a lot going on with you, with the health and everything, and the cleanse and all that, because that in itself has been a journey. So let's maybe
break that down.
Yeah.
So for the last like 3 months, I was for the first time in my career, I kind of had to take a time out, because I had like severe stomach inflammation, and it was causing me issues with my intestines that the doctors still don't know necessarily like the cause of it. But what it did is it triggered me not being able to eat for like a whole month. So I wasn't able to eat solid food for 25 days. I lost 17 pounds. I was just drinking water, eating baby food, and like literally doing like, I'm talking about like broth, but like water with like a scoop of vegetable bouillon, not even like noodles, not even no carrots in it, no celery, like nothing solid, dog. I was going back and forth to different hospitals. They were misdiagnosing me. Some of them even gave me the wrong medication that made the inflammation even worse. So yeah, it was really traumatizing, my brother. I would say that was more traumatizing to me than actually being shot, because it came at an age where I was able to digest maybe the message that I think God was providing for me, and I called it a cleanse and a detox, and that's literally what it was. And that's where we are currently, right? This is my first like couple weeks back into the norm.
Wow.
And Raw, the project, I was supposed to drop a few days before this started to kick in. You know, I'm talking about like severe pain. I can't get out of bed. Text messaging was too much for me. I didn't use the bathroom for 10 days.
Wow.
Didn't sleep for like 4 days straight. Like I'm talking about not even an inch of, not even a minute of sleep. Crying myself to try to fall asleep. I can't fall asleep, right? Like it was really traumatic, my bro. But through that, I was receiving a lot of like what I like to call the reject revelations, right? Messages by God. I would call them spiritual. It was not only just a physical and emotional and mental cleansing, but it was also a spiritual one. So it's ironic because every time I drop a project or I'm gearing up to drop a project, I feel like the universe has an interesting way of having me live vicariously through what I created. So you know how they say like, yo, is it life imitating art or is it art imitating life?
Yeah.
I think sometimes there could be like, it could do both, right? So I had this project with my brother, First Love Music, who produced all the beats on this joint. And it was called Raw, Redemption Outweighs Any Revenge, right? And this project was servicing all the people who really, for people who know my music, they know my super strength is being versatile, having a little bit of something for everybody musically, and doing it all well, right? And like I don't do anything that I don't aim to be great at or I'm not great at. And that's me just talking my shit, but I've put in my 10,000 hours plus for everything I do. But I said, you know what? I've been dropping these freestyles on Instagram, and people just love to hear me spit. I done showed them I could do the records with the dope R&B singers of the world like Ari Lennox. I done showed them I could rap with the Styles P's and the Smoke Dizzes and all these cats that I done came across. I done showed them I toured the whole world with a diverse catalog. But let me scale that all the way back and bring it straight back to the raps. And I found myself in a moment where being a reject again, right? Like right before gearing up for this project, or right before cultivating this project with First Love Music, I found myself feeling a little bit of angst, right? That rejection and that doubt of people still sleeping on me. And I'm like, yo, what more do I have to do, right? I as an independent emerging artist, I done rapped and written for and worked with some of the best of them. I done toured with them. I done did my own thing where I brought out thousands of people with no help, right? But I still felt like I was under the rock or still under the radar. And that was building, like I said earlier, Reject Dreams was built off being that underdog and having that chip on your shoulder. But sometimes you start to eat away at that chip and you start to almost become mad, right? Or frustrated. So what I did is I said, you know what? I had to check myself, and I said, I made up the slogan, redemption outweighs any revenge. And redemption is to cleanse yourself of sin, of any wrongdoing, right? Revenge is obvious retaliation because you mad and you upset. So redemption outweighs any revenge. And then right before I went to drop this project, God and life put me through an actual cleanse, right? And that's how, then when I came back from this, the last 3 months, I said, yo, you know what? Before we drop this project, I got to film a whole new song. 10 days into me being, 10 or 15 days into me being sick and really bad, I wasn't getting no musical creative inspiration. And that's rare for me because I usually write or create every day. In some way, I edit a video. I do something for my creative career every day, right? And I had, I just felt like Kobe on the bench with the Achilles heel injury. Like, I can't even do nothing about it, right? And then, like, day 12, 13, 15, one of those days, it just seemed like my brain was spilling out thoughts. I haven't smoked in 3+ months. I'm a big cannabis lover. I haven't went back to smoking, right? I haven't took a drink. I never really drank like that either, but just free from all of it. Social media I cleansed from, right? And I said, you know what? I recorded this record called Road to Redemption. And when I recorded it, one of my good friends, shouts to Leo, he said, bro, he texted me when he heard it. He said, I could hear the pain in your voice. This is like your DMX is slipping. And when he said that, I said, oh, word. All right, well, then we got to shoot the video for this before I even drop a project. And for me, I said, in order to get to redemption outweighs any revenge, we need to take the road to redemption. And I felt no better way to do that than to go back home and be with my whole family and kind of make that video about them and about healing and love and those things that I think hip-hop doesn't speak enough about, right? So I dropped that. And now that was like the prelude. If you ever watch Star Wars or anything like that was the prelude to what Raw is. And Raw is a reflection on that before moment of before I was cleansed and me being upset and just me just wanting to take it out on these beats. You know? So yeah, that's Raw. And that's why you hear the growl. You see my dog Lucy barking at the demons on the cover. It's all very intentional, you know. Even on the Road to Redemption artwork, you see the nutritional facts. Those were all the things I went through, right? 25 days without eating solid food, 17 pounds lost, 10 days no bowel movements, like all of those stats to show the sacrifice and what I went through and how I ascended from it.
That's what a time, man.
You telling me?
Damn. No, the intention, the depth, the awareness, the consciousness, and just like being able to connect with the moment. It's just, I'm excited, bro. I'm excited about the project even more now because I heard Road to Redemption. I played it back several times. I was touched. And then the video just makes it so much better. Like it was already beautiful, but the video just connected. It just connects everything. So I highly recommend go check that out. ARTZ music video, Road to Redemption. Right, it's on YouTube. And yeah. And it just blew up on social media too. I saw that and
it was
YouTube.
Going crazy. Yep. I even cleaned my whole social media too. So like, even that was a cleanse, right? And I have a rich history, so that was even a big sacrifice. A couple months before that, me and Kanye linked. I done been touring the world. I done put out mad records with bigger artists. But I said, you know what? Forget everything I've done. People know my history already, and if not, they'll dive in and do their YouTubes and Googles. It's still there, right? But for me, it's about starting new and starting with family, starting with love, bringing it back home, you know. And I think from what you're explaining, that's what you felt in the video.
Yeah,
it touched a soft spot for everybody because it brought you back to whatever home feels to you. You know what I'm saying?
It's real, man. And you know, and it just, when I think about family, I don't ever want it to be like a rare thing. And you know, as I get older, I feel it. It's like, oh well, on the birthday or on this, and it's like, but I love the rituals. I love the routines. It's like we see each other on Sunday. We see this. So like, you know, to see that, I didn't know where it took place, but I was like, I know he's from Brooklyn, but this doesn't feel like Brooklyn. So now it makes sense that it was, you said Pennsylvania. Yeah. I was like, where is this?
I had to gather up the rejects.
I was like, is this Jersey? I was like, doesn't look like. I was like, wherever he did it, he did his thing.
Shouts to my videographer, Jael Perez, because I'm like, bro, I need one big favor. He like, what's that, ARTZ? I'm like, we got to drive the PA. He said, what? But he went out there before to shoot my little sister, Sweet 16.
Okay.
And she's actually on the chorus of the record. And that was something that was special to me, too. Shouts to Bree. Because I just want it all around for it to be encompassing of family. And what you just said, I think is super important, and not to glaze over, is that I think in today's social media era, we're so distracted by our phones, by our own lives and our own responsibilities, that we no longer have the Sunday every day with grandma. The checking up on mom, sisters, and brothers every day, right? We're so just busy. Time management is a thing. So this whole moment, if I even show you my phone, like I have all my family pinned at the top, and every day now I send them God bless and good morning. Every single day, every one of them. I copy and paste, but there's always a message. Strength, this. Just so they know, like, yo, even if we don't get to spend every day with each other, I'm looking for you. You know?
Yeah. That's real, man. Now, it's so interesting when I'm driving. There's like, I'm almost like triggered by certain areas, and I always find myself calling family members in those same spots. I'm like at this light, I like always call, and now it's almost like it's like a freaking alarm. It's like,
that's great.
I'm on
it's great to have those.
Yeah, and it's like become such a routine. And I shout out my pops. He's very routine with the morning check-in, the morning call.
Shouts to Pops.
Yeah. And my mom is always like at night, like, hey, I haven't seen you. Is everything? I hope all is well. Just checking in. And they're both. My dad's a big letter writer. Like he writes all his friends' letters. He just out of the blue, like, hey, just checking in, and you know, he writes the woman that inspired him to do music when he was like a child, like the teacher at his school. He writes her either a Christmas or a Hanukkah card every year, and thanks her for sparking his love for music.
That's a blessing. Shouts to Papa Noodles, man, because Erykah Badu has a great quote where she says, "To spell is a spell," and I think we've even lost that art of just sometimes writing your thoughts, feeling the scribe of like you jotting it down. Nowadays, you just be writing it on a notes or typing in an email, but sometimes when you spell, you put out a manifestation to the world, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's beautiful and it's just intentional, you know?
Yeah.
It's him not forgetting his roots and the reason why he became who he became because of these influences and these pillars in his life.
Yeah.
I think that's super important for everybody to kind of like register. I think technology is an advancement, but at the same time, it could interrupt some of those things, you know?
Oh, for sure, man. For sure. And I just love seeing how intentional you are with this project, from having your whole family in the video, but you know, we're going to get into the project too. And, you know, by the time this interview drops, Roar will probably be out in the wild.
Yes.
Because, you know, we're like a week before, but sometimes these drop a week or so after. But, bro, how do you feel? Because, you know, the project's done. You're about to share it with the world. How's that feel?
Oh, I'm gearing up for my first live show back / listening session, and I'm calling it a benefit concert as well too, because obviously being out of work for the last 3 months, that's why I decided to sell it on the Even platform first, give it to my direct fans first, exclusive access, people who really value my music and value my artistry, that one day if I am gone, you know, they would support it. You know, there's $20, $30, and $50 options that all come with different merch and exclusive rights and incentives. And for me, that was big because a lot through my process of being sick, you know, your phone rings a lot when the train's moving. When that train stops, you don't have as much support there. You know what I'm saying? And I came back and I said, you know what? People spend $20 on that bullshit weed that they smoke, right? They spend $20 on so many different things. Why won't they be able to come spend $20 with me? But what I did is I made sure to bake it with enough incentive, like a true hustler, that you pay 20, 30, or 50, you get a free ticket to the show. You pay 50, you get the album, you get to watch the music videos beforehand, you get a community group chat with all the rejects in it, and you get a spray painted t-shirt from some Raw merch. The $30 joint comes with the EP, and it comes with the music videos and the short film. There's a little film that comes with the project that you get to see before it releases publicly. I get people's thoughts, things like that, and then the $20 option comes with just the music. But by the time this drops, it'll probably be out for public, and I'm excited for that too. Like I said, the live show is gonna be great. We got shows in Bosnia coming up at the Rhythm and Youth Fest.
Wow.
I'm excited for that. June 20th. So June 14th is the concert in Brooklyn at Night Horse Bar. June 20th is at Rhythm and Youth Fest in Visoko, Bosnia at Park Ravni Pyramids. And then from the 23rd to the 30th, I'll be in Berlin, Germany, doing a press run and a music video.
That's cool.
And, yeah, just back on road. Excited and happy for it, man. You know, being on bedside for all this time, you know, and I'm still on the road to recovery, like still going to my doctor's appointments, still figuring things out, but I'm happy to be back. And now I'm on my super nutrition stuff, so cooking, eating right, smoothies every day, proper food intake, educating other people around me about that stuff, exercising crazy, you know what I'm saying? So really kind of like, you know, pushing that agenda. You know
what an agenda to push, because there's so many out there that it's like, damn, why is this again?
Yeah.
No, keep pushing that agenda, bro, because there's so many temptations. The best food is probably the worst.
Right.
It's tough. You got to find that balance and taking care, being active and moving around. I was having a convo with someone today that I really cared about. I was like, you know, you're getting a little older. I said, look, there's someone right there that you grew up with who now they can't even do the normal day-to-day things without an assistant.
Wow.
That they have to have there, because otherwise it could get messy. They forget who they are.
Yeah.
It was like, yo, it was like, cherish this time. You know, I know it's not easy, whatever you're working with, whatever you're going through, but yo, you're able to do this you're able to do this stuff. And I said, God is with you as well. I said, don't let the devil, you know, throw you in that stone cold stunner and WrestleMania you know, like, you got to kick out of this, you know, and
it's all about discipline. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's all about discipline. And a lot of the times our own worst enemy is ourselves. Humans tend to be self-destructive, right? So a lot of the times we make the excuse of, oh, nah, I don't got enough time for that. Or, nah, man, you have enough time. You just got to prioritize and learn how to trim the fat off the things that you don't need. You don't need to smoke 16 blunts a day. You maybe could do 2, right? Or 1. You don't need to smoke every day, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing something right now called warm water therapy, which is helping my digestive system, which is a Japanese study that is proven to cure cancer, diabetes, asthma, all these different things. But every morning you wake up, you boil a kettle of water, and you drink 2 hot glasses of water. Nothing else in it. Then you wait 45 minutes, and then you put food in your stomach, right? And this has helped me just kind of like get on that schedule. Then I make my smoothie, organic everything. I haven't ate meat in 5 years, so it's not like I was super unhealthy before this.
Yeah.
But your gut and your stomach can be sensitive from acid. Even sometimes healthy foods are not the easiest to digest, right? So these different things you start to learn the more you read and educate yourself, and you realize you start listening to your body on what works for you and what doesn't work for you. But when you get into that routine, like you said, wake up, do my smoothie, do my egg whites, usually start eating around 12, or sometimes I wait to 3 and I fast throughout the whole day.
Wow.
And then I don't try to eat dinner after 8 o'clock, right? These little things. No more fried foods like that. Nah, I'm done with that. You know, no more eating out like that. I used to eat out all the time. You know, being an artist, like I'm on tour, that's the one thing I'm kind of scared with being in Europe. I'm gonna have to eat out a little bit, and you don't know how much oil spill on those grills. You know, I don't want to get too much into it, but if you need your ARTZ nutritional facts, you holler at me. I get you right, at least on the right road to redemption. You know,
love it, bro. Nah. There's no heart without art, right?
Right.
That's just real stuff. And that's just, I appreciate that, and taking care of your heart, right? We talk about love and emotion, but like our heart is pumping and working for us day to day. How are we working for it, or are we just letting it work for us?
100.
And my boy, he said this at a sermon years ago. He said, think about this. We don't tell our lungs to breathe. We wake up every day and our lungs are just working. So like, we got to give thanks for these things that are just working for us. Like, you want to walk to the deli, you got to get up, you got to move, you know, you're telling yourself to move, but like our lungs, our heart, we're not telling it, but we could feed it and we could serve it, and we could, you know, cater to it in our own way.
It's like a car. Yeah. You got to service your body.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just expect your car to keep running on E. There's no gas in the tank. You still trying to whip it, or the rims, the tires done fell off and you riding down the street with just the rims. Like, you got to continue to service your body. But I think as humans, what we do, and that's why I say we're self-destructive, we depreciate the things that we have and take them for granted. Your lungs, your heart, your mind, your mobility. These different things. And it's like, bro, one day you gonna wake up and that knee gonna come on in and you gonna be like, God damn. Or you gonna see yourself a little bit rounded than what you like, right? And you gonna have to go to the gym. So why work backwards to go forward? Like, just go forward.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but sometimes we gotta bump our head in order to learn the lesson, you know? And I'm at the point in my life where I don't want to make the same mistakes twice. You know, I don't wanna be able to suffer from something that I could have prevented. And I don't want the people around me. Now, you can't bring a horse to water and make them drink, right? But you could show people enough examples. And then if it's like, all right, you want to keep smoking and you want to be unhealthy, then when the time comes where you got to suffer those consequences, don't expect crocodile tears.
Yeah.
You're going to have to deal with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I done pre-warned you already. You know, I done gave you the remedy. My boy Bully always says, like the Jay-Z line, you know, ARTZ did that, so you ain't got to go through that. Like, you know, so it's the same thing, man. Sometimes I told my little brother this a few weeks back. I said, brother, you know, I'm down to be the Indian that runs over the hill and gets hit with the arrows first. I never minded that. Right, like I just don't want you to run over the hill after I've already done been over there and get hit with the arrows. You get me?
Real talk.
You know, so that's what it's about: passing it forward, educating our sometimes our youth and our elders. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We got to just be there for each other, and you know, so many ways. But education, you know, just being a shoulder to be talked to, but facts, but. But that discipline is so important. You know, you learn that lesson. Do you keep running over that hill with the fire in it and the dragon on the other, you know, in the pit, and you know you could only jump 2 feet, and it's a 7-foot pit.
Right.
So yeah, but that's real, man, and I'm loving how much, you know, you put into what you do, how much you care. How much you care about connecting others, how much you care about the art, and putting it just shows, man. I'm looking at these posters from the upcoming project and the past project, where everything has a meaning and a purpose, you know, and then you pay homage to the things you love. So it's just beautiful to see, bro. Like you just see. I know that you're living your purpose, and you know, and just hearing you speak about it is just very inspiring.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me and giving me the platform to continue to share my story, you know? I think that's what it's all about, trying to continue to push the needle, bring something out of everybody, and learn and inspire each other, you know? Like, that's what it's all about. So, yeah, you know, everything has to have a meaning behind it. I don't have children yet in my life, but I look at all my music and my creations as my babies, sisters and cousins and brothers of each other, and each one of the assets that come with it, whether it be the merch, whether it be the artworks, the comics, the paintings that have came with stuff, all of those things further the shelf life of the music, right? Music is timeless. The art is timeless. So these things, you know, it's kind of like the spider web where you see how different things connect and are all synchronized with one another. And that's how my intention is when I create the artworks, or I bring it to the visual artist to create, and I come with a concept and I'm probably like, all my artist friends love me because I bring consistent work. And we done made good movement, money, all types of things together. But they also know that I'm a creative director, and I'm super specific with like, yo, this is what I'm imagining. But I come with references, mood boards, all of that. That's why they call me ARTZ, you know?
I totally feel you, man. My process, I take the same process with the merch and just being very hands-on and just the collabs, and it's just great. It's just great to see, bro. Thank you, and you had referenced that this is all you do. Correct. Right? Like, so that in itself is a grind, because I know so many amazing folks that MC, but they do something else during the day, and I applaud them too for being able to make it all work. You know, I never say, we got it. This person got it harder than this. You know, we're all working hard. We're all, you know, it's where we're choosing to put this time. You know, the amount we have here into our day to day. So maybe you could just, you know, you're talking about health, sustainability, you know, kind of bouncing back. You've talked about taking jumps where was uncomfortable. You moved at a young age.
Yep.
And now it just seems like the norm for you, to choose a creative path, because most folks that you talk to, or I know that I've talked to growing up, they would question that. They would be like,
yeah, because
this doesn't make sense. Where's the pension?
Insurance. Yeah.
What about the health insurance? What about the pension? What about the retirement?
Yep.
So maybe, but you've continued to do it for I don't know how many years, but here you are, you're doing it full time.
Right.
You're making it happen, and you're doing it at a level where it's like, oh damn, like he was able to get a video like that. The art looks like this. So like,
yeah,
you're not cheap. You're not getting by being cheap.
right.
You're throwing these events. You're putting money in people's pockets. What advice would you give to someone really going through that? Because I know there's that journey.
Yeah,
like, damn, like this is hard. I got to get a job to fund this, or like.
Yeah, the economics of it. Yeah, for sure. I would say, one, I'm truly grateful and blessed. It's been 9 years since I've had a regular gig, and prior to this, I was working at companies like Apple and Trader Joe's, and I was working a lot of overnight shifts, so I was like the overnight king. And I was juggling both music and a job, right? What had happened was, when I was working at Apple, my feet had given out. I had something that, because I played a lot of basketball through my life, I had something called plantar fasciitis, which is like almost like a flat foot, kind of like a heel spur, where your feet get swollen because I'm so flat footed or whatever. So 9 years ago, I'm like on the Apple sales floor, and I literally like could not move. Like I had to sit down, take a cab home. Wow. And just my feet was not the same at all. And I was out of work for months. Now, what had happened was, I was a big believer in using my personal sick time to go out and tour the world and get paid. I would use sick time to stay at home, or I would trade shifts in order to then get a show here or get a show there when I was in the midst of working. So when I went out on that injury leave, I literally had no money on my books. And Apple did something where they called it I had doctor's notes to keep me in the job, but they said because I was out for a few months, I voluntarily quit.
Got it.
So I lost my gig. Now, in that process, I remember reading a fortune cookie that, funny enough, that said, where feet may get weary, your spirit will carry, right? And I looked at that and I thought it was a direct sign, because my feet felt like I couldn't get up and stand for too long. It felt like I couldn't go back to working a regular gig, right? I felt helpless when it came to it, right? But I said, you know what? When there's a will, there's a way, right? But then I also told myself, I was like, do I go back into the job field where any day, a job that I have 401k at, I have benefits at, I could just dump and leave me when I'm actually sick and I'm no good and I can't get up, and I have doctor's notes to prove that? So I said, that's supposed to be my insurance, right? The doctor's notes, me being able to go back. I was there for 6 years, right? I should be able to go back, right? But there was no safety net. So I said, you know what? Life is putting me through this blender right now to learn this lesson. And instead of trying to go back and find a regular gig, let me try to make what I do for my dreams make a living. And then I started to be more, I applied my same hustle to the streets when I used to sell weed back in the day, right? And I'm not too proud to say that. Like, I think everybody
We've all had our moments.
Once, right?
We've all had our moments.
But I applied that same hustle, right?
Gotcha.
So I sat there and said, you know what? Instead of waiting to get booked for shows, I'm going to go book the venue. I'm going to go meet the manager at the bar and see if maybe they'll keep the bar and let me get the venue for free and throw an event, right? I'm going to go and throw events that is not only surrounded by me. I'm going to perform and have other performers, but I'm going to highlight all the people within my community that do visual art and painting and illustrating. And then I'm going to collab with them to create art based off the music. And then that fell into me being deemed as a curator and an event producer. So I started selling some of my homies' artwork. They're going from $50 prints, and I'm starting to sell these joints for thousands of dollars, right? I then started getting more business where people are asking me to throw their events. Now I'm event producing, right?
You were showing improving, and then it was just attracting.
Finding those different lanes.
People are seeing your skill set.
Right. When you have a trade, there's always money on the opposite end.
Who did this event? It was him? Oh, I need that magic here.
Word of mouth is the best promotion, right? I need that magic, like you said. Then the beautiful thing about it is I was also acquiring other X-Men, inspiring them to trailblaze with me. So a lot of the people that I was mentoring and I had next to me, the young videographers, photographers, I was editing a lot of the footage they were shooting. So now I'm becoming a director, right? Gotcha. Now they growing with me. Now they having their own production companies. I got my own joint. So, you know, as the late great Prodigy said, you mix the food with the medicine, right? You find a way to blend a little bit of everything, and through those things, selling the merch. You know, a few years back, and this is how much of a blessing it was. Me taking that path of releasing all my music with art, then fell into the digital world a few years ago with crypto and NFTs, and I had a big success there and a boom there, and people was writing it off at first. Oh, NFT artist. Nah, bro, art's been that guy when it comes to creativity, right? Not one thing defines me, not one genre, not one lane, you know. So, and even a few years ago, that was a blessing because I made it. I was written and talked about in Time Magazine, Yahoo Finance. I was the first rapper to ever sell a music art-based NFT in a premier blue chip auction house. I sold with Andy Warhol and Basquiat. So it kind of brought me to the place where Jay-Z has that one freestyle where he's like, I'm in Forbes magazine, but I wasn't in the artist section. I was next to the billionaires and those dudes, right? I was in Time Magazine and Yahoo Finance, but I wasn't next to the rappers. I was next to the great visual artists of the world, the Andy Warhols, the Cars, right? And that to me kind of like even showed me like, yo, when I first started mixing the music with different mediums of art, certain people was like, yo, you need to cut the curation stuff out. You just need to focus on rap. And they always try to pigeonhole you, but that was the one of those things that actually opened and segued me to actually monetize my career, you know? And same thing with this Even Play, right? Me putting the music out on Even, similar to platforms like Bandcamp, right? This allows people to come directly buy from the artist. You know what I'm saying? Imagine seeing a young Master P or a Nipsey Hussle right here outside the window trying to sell you that tape. And you just telling them, nah, but I pay $8.99 on Spotify. Yeah, but you don't even know the owner of Spotify. So why do you subscribe to things and support things that you don't even agree with that person's cause or purpose? But you're not willing to spend this with that local person, and then everybody out here talking about community. Nah, be the example.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody that done ever supported me, I done bought a piece of art from them first. I ain't just asking for stuff. You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
So that's the advice I would give to anybody out there trying to make a future with their creativity. Where there's a will, there's a way. There's a pocket, there's a lane. Just continue to be authentic, be you, and you'll find your quote unquote niche or your way to extract you know, whatever you want to get out of it. I'll say this too to wrap up my point. This is a funny analogy, but I told this to my man Bully the other day. Do you know the reason why when you go to a restaurant they give you a salad first, and most of the time the salad has citrus on it?
Does it spark hunger?
So one, it balances your palate, yes. But the citrus specifically extracts all the vitamin out of the spinach or the lettuce that is on that plate. So if you just was to eat the spinach by itself, you're not getting all the nutrients and vitamins. So I compare that the same way to music or any creative field. You got to have the citrus to actually extract all the benefits that you can have from it. But when you're not educating yourself and doing these things to trigger other things, you might not find the lane to get yourself paid and make a living off of it. You know, and even when you do, brother, it's still hard.
For sure.
After these 3 months, like I said, there ain't no union, there ain't no benefits, there ain't no pension, there ain't no sick time leave. These last 3 months on the road to redemption, credit cards, all of these things, they come into play. Bills, the landlord keep knocking, you know, so you got to get back on that horse and you got to ride again and you got to figure out the terrain, you know. And me, I'm a type of artist that I'm like, I come from the school of the hustlers, the Jay-Z's, the Dame Dash. I could have $3 billion in the bank, but if the owner of Uber comes to me and be like, yo, I got some shares for you, $2.7 billion, I might spend that because I believe in my ability to recreate, you know, create opportunity, create more finance, different things like that. And I'm a gambling man, as you can see. I believe in sacrifice and betting it all on what you believe in, you know. So, yeah, that would be my advice.
That's beautiful, man.
Thank you, brother.
Bro, I hope you have an amazing trip. I hope you have a lot of fun.
Thank you.
And this was an amazing episode, bro. I'm just excited for you. I'm excited for the future. I appreciate you sharing your story.
Yep.
And the gems and just the experience. And brother, I hope you have an amazing trip. You know, started in Brooklyn, where, you know, hometown, and then going to Bosnia and Berlin. I know this month's going to be one for the books for you, brother.
Yeah, this summer's going to be lit. So catch me outside where the vibes are. Big Reject Dreamer, thank you for having me here on Maker Park Radio, NYC, my man Noodles. Appreciate your time. Appreciate the great conversation as well, too. And yeah, redemption outweighs any revenge. Go get that. Reject.
And they could catch you. I'm going to put all the links in the bio and everything, but anyone just listening on the road or just vibing, where are the links to catch you?
They could find me at ARTZ. ARTZ is Artsy, ARTSY on all social media platforms. On streaming platforms, you can find me at ARTZ, ARTZ, all capitals. That's how you spell my name, ARTZ, all capitals. And same thing with YouTube and everything else. Or you could just go to rejectdreams.com, and that's like the central space to find like everything, you know.
Go get that roar. Make
Yes,
sure
sir.
to support your guy. The future is bright. And once again, shout out to Make a Park Radio for hosting this show, Type 88 Radio. Make sure to keep it locked. We have dreamers really sharing how they turn their dreams to reality, the behind the scenes, how they made it all happen, and how they continue to. And once again, Arts, thank you for being part of this, brother.
Yes, sir. Reject.
We'll get into one record, and make sure to keep it locked for the next episode.